cacophony, cadence, cajole, callow, candor, capitulate, capricious, caricature, castigate, categorical.
Cacophony. Harsh-sounding mixture of words, voices, or sounds. A cacophony of voices in a dozen languages filled the train station. Cadence. Rhythm, the rise and fall of sounds. Francis spoke with a soft, musical Edinburgh cadence. Cajole. To persuade someone to do something he or she doesn't want to do. The most effective technique is to cajole rather than to threaten. Callow. Immature. I believed a lot of things in my callow youth that I do not believe now. Candor. Truthfulness, sincere honesty. Sometimes his candor made the people from state squirm a little. Capitulate. To surrender, to give up or give in. The Park Chung-hee clique will capitulate to this peace offensive. Capricious. Unpredictable, likely to change at any moment. Romantic heroines are often capricious. Caricature. A portrait or description that is purposely distorted or exaggerated, often to prove some point about its subject. The caricature is crude, but recognizable. Castigate. To criticize severely, to chastise. Marx never lost an opportunity to castigate colonialism. Categorical. Unconditional, absolute. Can you give us a categorical assurance that no jobs will be lost?
Catharsis, caustic, chagrin, charlatan, chasm, chastise, chicanery, chimera, choleric, circuitous.
Catharsis. Purification that brings emotional relief or renewal. Music is a means of catharsis for me. Caustic. Like acid, corrosive. His abrasive wit and caustic comments were an interviewer's nightmare. Chagrin. Humiliation, embarrassed disappointment. Much to his chagrin, he came last in the race. Charlatan. Fraud, quack, con man. The charlatan boasted that he could charm off any disease. Chasm. A deep, gaping hole, a gorge. There's a chasm between rich and poor in that society. Chastise. To inflict punishment on, to discipline. Charity organizations have chastised the government for not doing enough to prevent the latest famine in Africa. Chicanery. Trickery, deceitfulness, artifice. The investigation revealed political chicanery and corruption at the highest levels. Chimera. An illusion, a foolish fancy. Is this wave of affluence a chimera or does it have solid underpinnings? Choleric. Hot-tempered, quick to anger. Beneath his choleric exterior Gerald O'Hara had the tenderest of hearts. Circuitous. Roundabout, not following a direct path. The more circuitous route would be the quickest.
Circumscribe, circumspect, circumvent, cliché, clique, coalesce, coerce, cogent, cognizant, colloquial.
Circumscribe. To draw a line around, to set the limits, to define, to restrict. The power of the monarchy was circumscribed by the new law. Circumspect. Cautious. The governor was usually circumspect when dealing with the media. Circumvent. To frustrate as though by surrounding. The king tried to circumvent his enemies. Cliché. An overused saying or idea. A cliché conveys an idea or message but loses its point through overusage. Clique. An exclusive group bound together by some shared quality or interest. The reactionary ruling clique was torn by internal strife. Coalesce. To come together as one, to fuse, to unite. The view of party leader coalesced to form a coherent policy. Coerce. To force someone to do or not to do something. The rebels coerced the villagers into hiding them from the army. Cogent. Powerfully convincing. There are cogent reasons why the Constitution drafters decided to generalize rather than to particularize. Cognizant. Aware. Conscious. Be cognizant of the freedom of choice of individuals. Colloquial. Conversational. Informal in language. The best way of improving your colloquial English is by listening to native speakers.
Collusion. Commensurate. Compendium. Complicity. Conciliatory. Condescend. Condone. Congenial. Congenital. Conjure. Collusion. Conspiracy. Secret cooperation. The officials are in collusion with the criminals. Commensurate. Equal. Proportionate. Reward should be commensurate with effort. Compendium. A summary. An abridgment. The Roman Catholic Church has issued a compendium of its teachings. Complicity. Participation in wrongdoing. The act of being an accomplice. His complicity with the former government had led to his downfall. Conciliatory. Making peace. Attempting to resolve a dispute through goodwill. The president's speech was seen as a conciliatory gesture towards former enemies. Condescend. To stoop to someone else's level, usually in an offensive way, to patronize. When giving a talk, be careful not to condescend to your audience. Condone. To overlook. To permit to happen. If the government is seen to condone violence, the bloodshed will never stop. Congenial. Agreeably suitable. Pleasant. Compost provides congenial conditions for roots to develop. Congenital. Describing a trait or condition acquired between conception and birth, innate. He has a congenital heart defect. Conjure. To summon or bring into being as if by magic. I can't simply conjure up the money out of thin air. Connoisseur. Consecrate. Construe. Consummate. Contiguous. Contrite. Contrived. Convivial. Corroborate. Countenance. Culpable. Cursory.
Connoisseur. An expert, particularly in matters of art or taste. Fry was a connoisseur of Renaissance art. Consecrate. To make or declare sacred. Time consecrates, what is gray with age becomes religion. Construe. To interpret. He may construe the approach as a hostile act. Consummate. Perfect. Complete. Supremely skillful. Those familiar with Sanders call him a consummate politician. Contiguous. Side by side. Adjoining. Vietnam is contiguous to China. Contrite. Admitting guilt. Especially feeling remorseful. She was contrite the morning after her angry outburst. Contrived. Artificial. Labored. His excuse sounded a bit contrived. Convivial. Fond of partying. Festive. Josh is convivial, affable and engaging. Corroborate. To confirm. To back up with evidence. Employment trends corroborate the dismal economic picture. Countenance. Face. Facial expression, especially an encouraging one. I made a fierce countenance as if I would eat him alive. Culpable. Deserving blame. Guilty. He pleaded guilty to culpable homicide. Cursory. Hasty. Superficial. He signed with only a cursory glance at the report.
では、最後にもう一度、イメトレをして終わりましょう。